But I wanted to experience that firsthand, the gown, the heels, the crown, the makeup, all of that, Just walk uh, on the ramp than marching on the parade. So that contrast I was seeking from life. And my pageant journey offered me that. And I'm really grateful to that journey.
What's your best advice for juggling work and motherhood?
Just take it as it comes. So suppose me and my husband, we are having some argument, okay? My son, who is just 7 years old, okay, will come and just do this to my husband. Like, he will not let my husband speak because he knows that one person is arguing, another person has to keep quiet, okay?
Wow.
So, whereas
That's
Be the change that you wish to see in the world.
Look for the silver lining whenever a cloud appears in the blue.
Be the change you want to see in the world. Today's episode is very, very special because this is not just her journey. This is a journey which will inspire every woman out there. Lieutenant Commander Dr. Sadhanaa Giri lives by this quote. Hello and welcome to Between Us. Make every conversation count. So welcome to the show, Sadhana.
hi, Santosh. Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, thank you for coming to the show. First of all, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And to everyone who serves, we are grateful for that. So we have this tradition in our podcast where we begin from the beginning. You were born in Jaunpur
Yeah.
and you grew up in different places.
Yeah.
You are the oldest of the 4 siblings.
Yeah. That's right.
So, you do not come from a military background.
No. Yeah. That's right.
So that's an interesting story there, because normally you see people coming in from those backgrounds and then transitioning into a similar career.
Yes.
How did the whole military thing happen?
So I was born in UP in a small town called as Jaunpur. My father is from Jaunpur and my mother is from Banaras. And so I was raised there with my nani, who's from, so I had my upbringing in Banaras. And thereafter, my father, who was then a teacher, was working in a school in Mumbai. Okay. And thereafter, I moved to Mumbai along with him, along with another sibling of mine. And then, I started my schooling there. And then moved to Hyderabad and then Tamil Nadu, did my college there. Was an NCC cadet, also a student council president of my college, and really worked hard to get into armed forces. And my exposure to armed forces was the NCC exposure. It gave me great exposure because I saw a lot of people, my officers who were there in uniform, and that really attracted. Also, because I come from a background where women then were not very encouraged to take armed forces as a career, or for that matter, any career. They were just expected to be married, have kids, look after their household, and that's it. Maybe in those days, it was the safest thing to do for women. The society decided that this is the safest thing. But somehow I had a problem with that, because also we were seen as a liability for my parents, all 4 of us. Yeah. So people always used to poke my parents as to how are you going to manage 4 daughters, their marriage and dowry and stuff like that. So those things always used to bother me, because I mean, why should I be a liability? And therefore, I always worked hard, whatever opportunity I had. I'm so grateful to my parents that they provided me education. They supported me. My mother used to wake up at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, both of them. They used to do their routine. They used to, make us ready and and for school and college and all that. So I have seen that struggle and consistency and duty that my parents took upon themselves to help us have an independent standing for ourselves and choose a career that we individually we chose for ourselves, that we liked.
How did NCC happen? I mean, what attracted you towards NCC?
Yeah, that's a great question. So growing up, Kiran Bedi was my idol. So I used to watch her on TV, on news channels. She used to make headlines. Also, when I was doing my graduation, I read one of her books, and her
Which one?
life. I think the name of the book is "It's Always Possible," wherein she talks about her journey as to how she became a police officer, her journey in a male-dominated career, and her work in Tihar jail, all of that. And that was really inspiring for me.
And that basically drew you to NCC.
Yeah, she was also an NCC cadet. And yeah, I loved that. I loved, and also there were some similarities between our journeys. For example, they were also I think 4 sisters, and we also grew up as 4 sisters, and we had similar challenges growing up. Our parents faced similar challenges, so I think that was really inspiring for me.
Talk me through your days at NCC. I mean, because I'm sure that was at that point in time there were not many women officers there. How did it really shape you?
Yeah. So NCC really shaped me into a very independent woman. And so right from a class 8, I was an NCC cadet, Army Wing Junior NCC cadet. I was in Hyderabad, and we used to have certain camps in Hyderabad parade ground. I still remember there used to be tent pitched up, and we used to even our bathrooms and everything was a very, very makeshift kind of an arrangement. And we hardly got to sleep, and we had all the duties, and we had a whole lot of activities. We were away from our home. So that was the first time I stayed away from my father and mother, and also my grandmother was living with us. And I'm very attached to my family members, like my grandparents and my parents. And so when my father first came to see me there in the evening visiting hours, I really had tears in my eyes. But I really was enjoying that independence and all the activities that we were exposed to. So that's how it began. And then in the college days as well, 3 years, every Saturday, Sunday, we used to have parade. While rest of the students, rest of the college was enjoying their weekend, or maybe going to movies or picnics, or maybe they were, spending time with their family members or relatives, going around. We used to wake up at 4 o'clock, iron our uniforms, polish our boots, and we used to be there in parade ground, waiting for our instructor to arrive and start the march past. Or maybe sometimes we as seniors used to take over and do all the parade and all the activities that were required for us to, that was implemented for us all. And I was really active in there. I had lots of camps that I participated in. Also, I represented my directorate at Delhi.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is a directorate?
My directorate, Tamil Nadu, Pondicherry and Andaman directorate. It was one for the NCC cadets. It was one directorate where all the candidates from this specific region were unified as one. And so I was representing my directorate, Tamil Nadu, Pondicherry and Andaman directorate. So yeah, it was great. It was great. The camps used to be held in Delhi every year in October. It was called as Thal Sainik Camp, or in fact, they changed the name to Leadership Camp later on. And I was one of the best cadets there. also my sister was a part of NCC, and together, like we really had fun time there, and we learned a lot of things. We became independent. We became responsible. We became patriots. We started thinking about national issues. We started loving our country, and we started getting shaped into people who are responsible citizens of the country. So I think NCC plays a lot of role in shaping the young minds, shaping the future of the young people of the country, and it is the largest youth organization, yeah, that India has, and even now, even today, when I see young NCC cadets, it gives me goosebumps. I so much relate with them, and I think they are half soldiers. Yeah. If I was not in the armed forces, I still would have loved my country, and I still would have, always prioritized country's growth. I would always have thought of good things about the country, the future of the country, and contributed to it, just as I did, just as I'm doing right now, or I did
In fact,
because
we
of
all do.
yeah.
So NCC, and then you finished your college along with that.
Yeah.
And then the transition to Navy happened.
Yeah.
Okay. And this was...
In 2005, I joined the Indian Navy. However, my first inclination was towards Indian Army, because I was an Army wing cadet, and I never saw anybody in the Navy. I never had Navy NCC, I never saw Navy NCC cadets in that time. Even NCC cadets at that point in time, it came much later. And none in my family was in the armed forces in any capacity, let alone being an officer.
And that's the most interesting part.
Yeah.
So growing up in a family, I believe your father was a teacher.
Yeah.
And for you to actually transition
Yeah.
or move into armed forces,
Yeah.
and as you just mentioned, you had complete support of your parents during
Yes.
this entire process.
Yes.
And there was not even an iota of worry that my kid is going into military for your safety or anything of that sort.
No. Why not? Because my father raised us in a very different way. My father was the one who always used to push us, go to the bank, do this job, go to the hospital, all that,
Yeah.
go to the market, purchase this and come. Sometimes we used to goof up, but then my father always used to push us and, learn things, how to interact with people, how to do your own work. And so all thanks to my father.
So tell me something, because I think it's a global challenge when it comes to women in military, in any of the, military forces. 2005, when you moved in, I don't think there was enough representation of women at that point in time. And I see now there is a huge shift which is happening. Talk me through those initial years of your Navy days. I mean, because I'm sure it was not a bed of roses. There were challenges, right? Not just as a woman, but in general. Just talk me through those experiences. I mean, were you welcomed in the way you expected to be welcomed, or there were challenges around it?
Yeah, so armed forces is a place where women are respected like anything. But once you wear uniform, you are equal. Like you are at par with your male counterparts. So even in the academy, when we started our training, there was nothing different. Like to some degree, our standards, physical standards, are lowered. I don't know why. I mean, if you ask me today, even if you keep the same standard and pitch us along with our male counterparts, I'm sure many of us would do much better than our male counterparts. And why I'm saying that is because we used to run marathons, and as runners, there used to be so many male counterparts, our course mates behind us. At least I know, because I always used to come in, say, first or second enclosure in in our weekly or bi-weekly marathons that used to happen in the academy. So there's nothing that we women cannot do. And
And I think
if we have
it's
adequate training, we can do everything.
and
So,
it has a lot to do with mental strength, right?
yeah.
I mean, more than the physical strength, it's about the mental strength here.
Yeah, it is. And I think women have that mental and emotional
For sure.
strength more than men. Yeah. And so we are treated equal. If a male officer is bullshitted, if he reprimanded, so is a woman,
So for
officer.
you, there was really not a challenge as such, in the sense that you were the entire journey was comfortable in the sense that you never really faced any kind of biases or anything. It was a
I will tell you. So the entire crowd, armed forces crowd that we have, the officers and men are representation of our own society. So not 100% it is like that. There are some elements who are kind of chauvinist, who are not very welcome about women's role or seeing women in leadership position in the armed forces. They will try to pull you down, or they will say something discouraging. But largely it's safe and sound and very encouraging. Yes. So that's what I'm saying. So one odd cases, yes, I have had certain experiences, not very pleasant, but that does not define my armed forces journey. My armed forces journey has been phenomenal in the way that I have learned and evolved as an individual. So that does not define, that small incident here and there does not define. And maybe for many women officers over there, it does not define, their journey. What defines is how they're evolving, how they're growing, how they're holding their position. Okay. And commanding and performing.
Talk me through the different positions you held.
All through, I was an ATC officer, but yes, certainly as
Air
I
traffic
progressed.
controller?
Yes,
Yeah.
air traffic control officer. In the initial years, I was in Tamil Nadu, where we had TUs and so many other aircrafts, military, which were maritime reconnaissance, kind or type, and also helicopter training used to happen there. And it was all specifically all Navy kind of operations that used to happen. Then I moved to Visakhapatnam, which was a joint user aerodrome where we had all kinds of aircrafts which used to operate. For example, civil, passenger, military, fighters, helicopters, military helicopters, hospital helicopters, and chartered helicopters, all of those. And then it was during my time that even night operations were started in Dega. I mean, this INS Dega is what it was called. Indian Naval Ships Dega is where I was posted in Visakhapatnam. And then it started operating international flights as well to, I think, Malaysia or Singapore. And we used to have 24 hours operation there. So that was really hectic for us. And then I moved to Mumbai, which was a small air base, which operates south of Mumbai. And specifically military helicopters. And sometimes some chartered flights used to fly here and there, though, maybe belonging to Tatas or Reliance, which used to give clearance to. Otherwise, it was particularly all about, coastal recce and all that. Yeah.
And I believe your tenure ended in 2017. I mean, that's
Yes.
when you
Yes.
retired from the from the services.
Yeah.
You did mention to me when we were having this chat that there was a at one point in time, there was some kind of a service tenure predefined for women, and for men it was not. So that has changed. What was that about? I mean, I just trying to.
So, like I was saying, our armed forces is also, a small representation of our, mindset
Mhm.
or our
Society in
in general. So, in the beginning, because of the mindset, because of the infrastructure, and all of those things,
Mhm.
we only had 14 years as the maximum tenure that we could pursue. In fact, it began with 5 years and then 10 years and then extended to 14 years.
Mhm.
So until March 2020, which was when Supreme Court gave an order to the government that now you must include women, at par in the armed forces and give them equal opportunities and let them serve for full term, which is 20 years minimum. And that's when it all started. But by then I had already, released or retired, August of 2017. So now there are women who are taking commanding positions in the Navy,
Yes.
in the Army, in the Air Force, and they're doing very well. They are going on board ships, which during my time it was not allowed. Even though we used to ask, we used to be willing, and we could have welcomed it as something exciting, but it never happened because of lack of infrastructure, lack of bunkers, lack of toilets or washrooms. It was not allowed. But now there is improvement in infrastructure, there is improvement in policy, and everything is getting better and better for women.
I have a question for you, Sadhana. You said that now there is an improvement, right? But this improvement could have taken place earlier too. I think it was a lot to do with lack of initiative, or a lot to do with the fact that there was not enough push.
I will say that, yes, the preparedness was not there, as in infrastructure is secondary, but the society was not prepared. The people inside the forces were not welcoming. I think so. It was not welcoming, and they thought a lot about it. And there were instances when women were posted on board as on experimental basis, but some kind of issues which happened, some kind of misbehavior or something like that, they stopped the idea for some time, and again it took momentum recently.
So during the course of this journey, somewhere in between, you met your husband. If that's okay, if you could share a little bit about that.
Yeah.
I know you guys met at an academy event or something like that, right?
Yeah. So my husband, Commander Shubhadi Bhattacharya, is my coursemate. We joined the academy together. We were in the academy together in the same squadron. But it used to be so hectic, we never used to get time to interact with any of our course-mates, except female course-mates, because we used to live in the same place. So once in one of our activities, like maybe it was quiz competition, inter-division quiz competition, and inter-squadron, and we met, I think we interacted, and then that's it. And then there was another stage show, some stage program where we met. We were together again. Then we said bye-bye to each other after we passed out from the academy, Indian Naval Academy. And again, we had one short course together in Lonavala, NBCD, Nuclear Biological Chemical Damage Control. And really got us together. Like we started interacting quite a lot. We used to go for walks and we used to exchange ideas and exchange our life philosophies. And that's where we became good friends. And then again, we parted ways. I went to Hyderabad for my ATC course, specialization course. Dindigal, Air Force Academy, Dindigal is where ATC officers get their specialized training. And he went to Vishakhapatnam for his submarine course. And we parted ways. And I was someone who never wanted to take this relationship forward beyond friendship, because I knew my background, and I knew that it won't be accepted. And, in fact, even I was not very prepared, and I had certain criteria for my life partner. But then
We all have.
yeah, we all have. But then he largely fit into a lot of things. Like he ticked a lot of boxes there. He came to meet me in Hyderabad, and yeah.
Largely, it's also about the effort, no?
Yeah, he took a lot of efforts. I must say that.
Yes.
I must say that because he was pursuing it, very seriously, even though I wanted to maintain some distance. But then whatever was to happen.
What's
it
meant to be
happened.
is meant to be, right?
Yeah, so true.
When we first met, I wanted to ask this question. So both of you come from a very similar background, right? In the forces, and that could be a positive, and that can also be sometimes, two people coming together, same amount of stress and stuff. So how has been that journey so far?
So
And also the fact that you can get moved around in very different places, or do you have the luxury of being posted at the same place all the time?
yeah. So the worst part of being an armed forces wife is, now that I'm not in the forces and I'm pursuing my own career, is that your career suffers a lot. There's so many wives who are just giving up their careers because they want to support their husbands, because the mission comes first, the country comes first. Okay. So yes, in some ways it has, my career has taken a backseat, but then I'm always active, and whatever is the boundary that is available for me, I've always tried to do my best. So frequent shifting does put a lot of pressure on you, on your children. Okay, but then it teaches you also a lot. It teaches you great lessons of adaptability. You learn a lot of you learn human connection. You learn different cultures. You adapt to different food habits.
Which is something which is, I don't think any other profession gives you that kind of, width and breadth in terms of, having people from different cultures, different food habits, different languages.
True, that's true. Yeah, that's the best part about being an armed forces officer or wife, or armed forces kid. You gel around with people. If you're an armed forces kid, you have a room full of people. You can make friends with all of them, and you can actually thrive in a group very well, because that's all about armed forces. It's about community. It's about team effort. So that's the best part of being in the armed forces, and I treasure that very much. I treasure that.
So
And
on that note, before I get into the next segment, I really want. I also know that you shared the story of how you had you moved to Russia for a bit of time.
Yeah.
And that would have been exciting. And this was somewhere in 2017 itself.
yes.
Talk me through that whole experience.
Yeah. So 2017, I was carrying my second, 2016, I was carrying my second child. And it was my time to say goodbye to the Navy. And so my husband was deputed in Russia for, I think, 2 to 3 years was his deputation. And it was May 2016 when I was carrying my son 6 months into it, and he had to just take his submarine to Russia and for refit.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened, and he was there. May 2016, my husband moved to Russia
Mm-hmm.
when I was carrying my son. I was also doing my MBA from Jamnala Bajaj Institute of Management.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my last exam in May, June. And he had to move, to Russia. And August 2016, my son was born. And I was in the maternity leave. And so I think extension then or permanent commission was not to come through because as per policy, it wasn't there, It wasn't yet accepted. And so I knew it was my time to go. And so when my son was 6 months old, I realized that I think I can move to Russia along with my husband, because my daughter was already missing my husband, her father.
And how old was she at
She
that
was at that time 5 plus.
time? Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
my son was 6 months old, 5 to 6 months old. And while I was on maternity leave itself, I took permission and I went there again, came back in the month of June, July, and took my retirement, and went back again in 2017, August. And since then, I was there only.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was great life over there. My daughter was interacting with Russian kids. She was in a Russian school. My son, when he turned 1, was going in a kindergarten school over there. And it was fantastic interacting with people, Russian people. They really appreciate our culture. They're really friendly people, even though the language, when they speak, it does not seem to be so, but they are really friendly and nice people, very, very warm and very friendly. Okay, and they love India. They love India, Indian culture,
Absolutely.
Indian attire, Indian food, you name it, Indian women. They love everything. Yeah. And so it was fantastic. And while I was there, we went around to some countries, sometimes even alone. So we had fantastic time out there. I also began my coaching and mentoring journey from there, as a second career, because I knew I just don't want to go to any corporate career. Don't want to be part of any corporate career because, again, because of my husband's career, it took center stage, and my kids were young and did not have my family support. Like my parents could not come because, of course, they raised us. Now it's not their responsibility to raise my kids as well. And so I realized that the technology is so advanced and we can do so many things from the comfort of our house. And I started taking, certain coaching certifications and all that, and started coaching people, mentoring people.
I know that this transition to coaching happened, which is what your career is right now. What led you to this? I mean, did it just happen organically, or was something planned already in your mind that this is going to be my next phase of my career?
So I'll tell you, when I was in the armed forces, every day, was fun. It was different as an ATC officer. And it was a privilege to wear that uniform. But then when that gets into your head as an identity, permanent identity, that I am so and so, I am an officer, I am lieutenant commander, so and so. And the next day you're not in the uniform, you are out of the forces, you're no longer part of it actively, This identity crisis comes up. And it was so difficult for me to go through that.
Yeah, I know. That's a very, very interesting point you make, because I think a lot of the veterans go through this transitionary phase, and some of them are not receptive to the challenges which come post-retirement.
I will tell you, see, it mostly happens with short service officers. not with the permanent commission officer, because they know that after 20 years, they have this journey that they can take up, My journey has been like that. Like, I was known, I was respected, I was regarded, I was looked up to in my family, in my community, in my village, as someone who's achieved something great. And suddenly I'm not part of that, So that crisis was happening in my mind, For some people, maybe they go through midlife crisis. For me, this was the biggest crisis. And I had to come out of it all by myself. I could not tell my parents as to what I'm going through. I could not tell my husband because he was busy. And I think he would not understand also, because it was my own, personal journey and my own personal struggle. And
Did you have someone to talk to? Did you
so
get some help?
how I came out of it is by working on myself, by journaling, by enrolling myself in certain courses. For example, Mind Valley is one I'm very influenced by, and Mind Valley is it was started by Vishen Lakhiani, Indian Malaysian guy, and I enrolled in one of his courses run by Lisa Nichols, who was a great speaker. And I went through that course, that transformative course of a couple of months. And my life changed. Then I realized that it's just in my head. My identity is just in my head. That is not who I am permanently. I am what I give to this world. And I think by coaching, mentoring, by helping human beings in their own journey like this, some get stuck in their career, some get stuck with their relationships, some struggle with health issues. So if, as an individual, as a coach, if I can help that person by just talking to him or her, I thought it is such a brilliant thing to happen. Also, it attracted me because, being the eldest of four sisters, I always mentored, I always guided my sisters. Also, always used to take initiative in school and colleges. Like I told you, I was a student council president. I used to guide my juniors in the college as well. In the NCC also, I was a leader of a sort. I was an under officer. So I always came forward and always tried to help people take initiative. So I think coaching is also for me like that, helping individuals come forward and help individuals. Also, it is a well-paid. It is a great career. It is a great career, and it can be a great second career.
It is a great career. I think coaching and mentoring is something which is needed more than ever in our world today, especially in a post-COVID world, where we all seem to have, I think the one good thing which happened is a lot of us paused and looked inwards and asked ourselves, where are we heading to?
Yeah.
And I think that's where a coach and a mentor can perfectly fit in.
Yeah.
What does life coaching entail? If I were to ask, what does a life coach do?
So a life coach actually partners with the client in a very thought-provoking and creative manner to maximize their personal and professional potential. That's what life coaches do.
And is there a process you go through?
Yeah, there is a process. So we don't give them solutions. We get solutions from the clients. The
That's
solutions
interesting.
comes from the client. Okay, and we do it. We facilitate it by way of questioning. Yeah.
So you enable.
I enable, facilitate. Yes, enable the individual. We make them those people who are able to carry on with their lives, deal with their challenges, and come out with flying colors, be it personal or professional.
Do you remember the first time you mentored or coached? I think at that point in time you were in Russia, right? When you just started.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Did you just meet someone, or was it a general conversation?
Yeah.
How did it happen?
It was a general conversation with a lady who was running a language academy in Russia. Irina was her name, is her name. And in fact, the t-shirt I'm wearing is gifted to me by her.
Ah,
It's so
wonderful.
dear to me. You know, she sent it across to me when I came back to India. So I met her in one of our Independence Day celebrations, or I think Republic Day celebrations, something like that. And we interacted, and I told her that I have this passion and all. And then she said, "Okay, we have requirement, and if you can come up, and just take some sessions, self-development session for our students and our faculty." And I mean, I was so thrilled to have that opportunity, and I did that. And then lots of session happened offline like that, one-on-one. And then on Skype, when I was not able to go, Skype was my option. Okay. So
We are talking about the Skype days.
yes,
Yeah.
Skype days, 2017-18. Okay. So that's how it happened.
And did
yeah.
you start approaching clients from your experience from Russia, or things just fell in place on its own? Did you have to really reach out to customers?
Because now people knew I'm a retired armed forces officer. There were a lot of schools and colleges which were approaching me, and that's how it began, one contact after another.
As what? As a speaker?
As a speaker, and then as a trainer, corporate trainer. So it all began with people who I knew or who knew me. They called me, and then from that contact, another contact, and it all started as word of mouth. I did not do any paid ads regarding my coaching services, but I also started going and showing my presence on social media. I started doing Facebook Lives, even though I was not comfortable, because major part of our armed forces career, we are banned from social media, and so it was all a learning experience. So that's how I started. And
now I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you say it's your daughter who actually helps you with all your social media
Yeah.
postings and...
no, like in a way that she knows more. So sometimes like I bump into her, and she's like, "You don't know this? This is how you're supposed to add background music." So the young generation is much more aware. And
But even now in the forces, social media is not allowed?
not allowed.
Not allowed.
Not allowed.
Okay. So
For the
going to
active serving members, it's not allowed.
so coming
So
back
it's
to
a bit of a challenge if you want to, suddenly come out and have a career like me, speaker and coach and mentor and all that.
But I
Because-
think speaking and mentoring comes naturally through your experience, right? I mean, you are leading.
Yeah, but the usage of social media, it is a bit of a skill there.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
that actually, if you were to take the positives of social media, it allows you to reach to a wider audience,
yes,
right?
Yes. So when I started doing that, I got some exposure, and people started approaching me, and that's how it started. Coaching is, especially coaching, is word of mouth. For the rest of the things, corporate training and all, you get contacted because you have your profiles here and there on some platform or the other. You're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook as a life coach, and all those introduction of yours. You get contacted, okay? But coaching is all about word of mouth, because if you help one client, deal with his or her challenge, then definitely that person moving forward recommends you or gets you another client. And that's how coaching happens. And it builds up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Couple of questions I have as I asked you regarding your experiences in the forces. When you moved into this space, this is already cluttered with a whole bunch of life coaches, business coaches, consulting firms. And I know that you had an advantage coming from a certain background. But I'm sure there were challenges as you moved into this. When did you decide that I think this is going to be my next career move? When did that moment happen? I'm sure it was not just that one experience you got with in Russia, or a couple of speaking gigs at colleges, but there must have been a turning point where you decided this is what it is, and you must have also looked at the space itself, because every second profile today you go through on a social platform, even like LinkedIn, you will find most of them call themselves business coaches, life coaches. So how did you have the confidence that this is where I need to move?
Yeah. So what is important is like your first question that you asked, where did I, decide this? When I was in Russia, I was going through that crisis situation, identity crisis. And I was working on myself. I made a bucket list for myself, for my life. In that bucket list, there are so many things. Some of them I have already, ticked. For example, TEDx. For example, participating in a beauty pageant. For example.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting thing. Yeah.
Yeah. For example, moving around with my kids, like roaming around in a new country, seeing places. So that happened. That also done. So this also, coaching as a career also
Was a
is,
part of your bucket list.
yeah, is part of my bucket list. And it helps me live my larger purpose, which is to help humanity, which is to do good work. Okay. Help human beings realize their potential, personal and professional. Because life does not come with a manual. We all go through certain experiences as a child, and we move into our work spaces, and then we face challenges, and nobody tells us how to deal with it. We have to deal with the same, with whatever knowledge that we have, whatever resources that we have gathered so far, our experiences. But still, there are lot many who struggle with these experiences, with their personal and professional challenges, and they need help. They need someone to hold their hand, to tell them that this is where they're going wrong. Okay, and coaching offers that avenue.
Okay.
Yeah, that hand holding, that helping individuals, be or become what they want to become.
So, in a sense, you can say that your, personal journey to finding your own identity is how the whole life coaching and business
Yeah.
coaching.
I am an individual who is here to help human beings to make this world a better place. Otherwise, people come, they do their schooling, college, they get into some job, and they accumulate money, they have house, they settle their kids, and they just go out of this world. Nobody knows them. And that is why I believe, that is why it's important for me to be a coach, be a speaker. In fact, I'm authoring a book, okay, on emotions. And it's all part of that, part of who I am and what I want to do in life.
When you say emotions, what is that? Are we talking about
Human emotions.
Human emotions?
Yeah.
And what, if I may ask, what kind of book?
It is more of a self-help book, okay, about how to deal with emotions. Yeah. Can't talk much about it because I've not yet finished it, and it's still an ongoing process, or work in process. But I believe it's very important for human beings to learn how to deal with their emotions, because again, nobody teaches them this. No school, no parent, Sometimes there is deficiency in the upbringing, and people suffer as a result in their later part of life. And I think It's important because I have seen my clients suffering because of emotions. They're suffering in their career because of emotions, suffering in their relationship because of emotions.
Parenting, and I think parenthood is an entirely different and
Yeah.
enriching experience. And I know that you've also spoken about gender neutral parenting. There was a talk of yours. My team was able to find that out. Parenting is very different from what it was when you were growing up, right? And of course, you have your work. Where do you see you are different from how your parents were, and where do you see the similarities?
One thing which is similar, or I want to be similar, is discipline.
Hmm.
My parents themselves were disciplined. They never enforced discipline.
Hmm.
So that is one aspect which I also want to take from them.
Hmm.
And I am to a large extent. Where I'm not similar is I give some liberty to my kids. My daughter, for example, growing up, she maybe any other parent would have not allowed his or her son to play with mud and all that, and soil their clothing and all that. But I always did. I mean, I gave her a free hand. Not only that, opportunity and freedom to speak what they want to speak, okay, and be the kind of person that they want to be, while also have some boundary. That's what I realize. And through my parenting journey, it's my evolution as well. I am learning a lot of things from my daughter, from my son. I'll tell you what I learned from my son. So suppose me and my husband, we are having some argument, okay? My son, who is just 7 years old, okay, will come and just do this to my husband. Like, he will not let my husband speak because he knows that one person is arguing, another person has to keep quiet, okay? So he does that, and I really admire this 7-year-old. The way he's the way he's thinking and the way he's coming as a negotiator. I really admire this little man in my house. His name is Shivai. Not only that, he knows every woman wants to get clicked, okay? So
That's
he
interesting.
started, whenever we go out, he starts clicking my photo. We are done with lunch or dinner, and then he's like, Mama, let's click a photo. I'm like, okay, good, great. Somebody is there to click my pic. And when he does, I appreciate him a lot. Even though here and there sometimes it's blurred, but largely for a 7-year-old, he's a great photographer. And I appreciate him. And my husband also does. So you know what he says to my husband? He says, Papa, aap hi se to sikha hai.
Wow.
So, whereas
That's
you see this young man is so mature at such young age. Okay. Similarly, my daughter has a different personality. Okay. She has a different personality. She's headstrong. She wants to do her own thing. I think some part of it, she's picked up my personality. Okay. And that's fine. Whatever kind of career she wants to have and the kind of life she wants to have, I'm fine with it. But yes, discipline is important. Focusing on whatever it is that you're pursuing is very important. And that's what I want my children to learn. Discipline and focus. And everything else will come along.
Sadhana, how important is engaging with the community for you? Because you come from a background where it is, at the end of the day, service to the nation. That's as selfless as it can get.
Yeah.
Right? To what you're doing right now. Each one of us owe it to the society, owe it to the community to make this place a better.
Very much. Very much. I think we as individuals cannot live in isolation. Okay. We all need whole lot of bunch of people to support us in our personal and professional journeys, right? You will agree with that.
Correct.
For example, for your podcast, there are at least 5 people I can see around, okay, who are supporting you.
Yes.
I
And
have-
many more.
And many more, yes, who I don't see, but there are many more. Personally also, personal front also, you have people. So we are community-driven people. We thrive in communities. We cannot live in isolation. And that is why it's very important to ask for support and also be a support for your society. So, for example, I'm part of Fit India movement of the country as an ambassador.
And
In
that's a
that-
great initiative
Yeah.
by the government of India.
Yes, very much. And when I am that, I know I'm more mindful that I am a Fit India ambassador, and I have to have fitness routine because there are women who are watching me. Okay, I'm not only responsible for myself but also for the mission. Okay,
How important is that for you, for to inspire women around you?
it's very important for me to inspire women around me because women are the backbone of the society. Yeah. And if each one of us we support each other, I think it will be a great place. Women will thrive, and it the society will be a very happy place.
In the corporate world or even in society, there has been great amount of women empowerment initiatives which is going on. I think that not just from the government but also society at large, people are becoming more and more aware of this. I mean, do you agree?
Yes, very much. Yeah, government has lots of initiatives for women, encouraging women in entrepreneurship. There are so many initiatives. Niti Aayog is undertaking. At panchayat level, there are so many initiatives.
Yeah.
And for the schools, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao movement and all that is really great initiative. Also for their, you know, there's some initiatives that I'm also part of, like for my daughter, certain saving schemes for daughters' education and all that. So yeah, I have also benefited from that. I'm benefiting from that, and I think it's very important. It's very important because if we want a thriving community, thriving country, okay, if we want to become world leaders, then in real sense we have to support our women, and these are some of the initiatives which will help women come out and come up, in fact, and be self-reliant and independent financially and other ways.
I really want to understand and ask you this. In all of these experiences you've been through, and I'll come to what you're doing right now, but top of the list, 5 things that matters to you. What would they be?
What matters to me is to be a person of worth. Like, what I mean by that is that you have to be a person who contributes to your surroundings. That's very important for me. Then, of course, to begin with, I think that is important, no doubt. To begin with, your own development, your own mental peace, your own growth should take center stage. If you really want to help out people, your growth has to be at the center. Okay. You have to develop yourself. You have to lead. You have to become that example for people. And for that, you have to give yourself time. Okay. And so self-development is important for me. What is important for me is also changing regularly. And this comes from armed forces. Like stagnation doesn't bring any growth. I mean, it is the most deadliest enemy of growth. And so change is very important, and I think learning precedes change. Okay. Learning comes before. So you learn and you change, you adapt and you change. So that's very important for me. Another important thing is, of course, good health. Okay, promoting good health, eating healthy. Okay. Rather than preaching, just eat healthy, and I think your children and your community and everything, you set a great example. Growing up, I never was so talkative or a person who had great many friends. I was very reserved and was doing my own thing. Books were my friends, and in fact, in my class 12, my English teacher asked me, "Who's your best friend?" And I used to tell her books.
That resonates with me a lot.
Yeah.
Books for my friends growing up.
Yeah. And she was startled. I mean, at this age, and you're saying books, but that was the fact. Okay. So yeah, that's about it. So now I have changed a bit. I mean, certain things, certain ideas have changed, certain values, and I believe that friendships, relationships are integral part of our human existence, and I would like to give a lot of importance to it.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you were to, many years from now, if you were to look back, what is the kind of legacy you would like to leave back?
Great question. I want to live a very fulfilling life. When I say that, for myself and for the community, my community, I would have authored maybe 5 books. Okay. As of now, I'm not clear. As of now, I'm just writing my first one. 5 books, at least. Okay. A great coach and speaker. Okay. Who have transformed millions of lives. And if I'm remembered that way, I'm fine. Remembered by my children for the love and care and support that I would have given them. To my husband as a great life partner. To my friends as very faithful and worthy, person, worthy friend. I think all of these will be great.
Wonderful. And I'm sure, there'll be much more to the list than that. As a veteran and now as a civilian, your thoughts on what's happening around the world, especially I'm pointing out to the wars which are going on in Ukraine and now Gaza and all of the things which are happening around. And I know that India is some way affected in some way, and we are doing what we are doing. How do you see the world moving forward? How do you see this evolving the way it is going? Do you have any thoughts around it?
Yeah. So this has been part of the world from ages. This kind of duality where when there is night, you look forward to the day coming up. There is dark, there is light. Okay, there is peace, there is war. I think these dualities will exist in life, and all we can individually do is to be promoters of peace, to be promoters of light, promoters of love. Yeah, and even though I cannot go and fight war for anybody out there, for Israel or Palestine or anyone, Ukraine, Russia, all I can do is I can propagate peaceful thoughts, loving thoughts and loving ideas, all of that. I can do that sitting at this corner of the world.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. Currently, what you're doing is you have a coaching company, if I understand
Yes.
correct?
So long I was working as an independent person, as a proprietor of my company called as Infinite Triples. And but then moving forward, I had some people connect with me, and then I was also interested in having business partners, and take my business, expand my business, coaching business to another level. And so I have 2 of my friends. In fact, they are from armed forces. And we are starting this company, and we are just building it up. And it is something which will be one-stop solution for all personal development solutions or needs that people have, whether it is career challenges or relationship challenges or any skill development. I think it will be one-stop solution, and people will love the kind of coaches that we would have. Yeah, so I think it will be great because one, it comes from armed forces. We would be able to do a lot of service to the community, because as armed forces people, that is very integral to our living. Our purpose is to serve. Okay, and that is where we come from, to serve. Serve, to help people awake, evolve, and succeed. That's our mission. And yeah,
So so apart from a hot cup of coffee, that is the other thing that is brewing in your life.
yeah, and it's called as born consciousness. And yeah, I think the world would be grateful to us for giving born consciousness to this world, I think.
I'm already loving this. I'm loving your confidence, and I'm sure it'll make a world of difference. I did miss out on a very interesting point, Sadhana, which is your participation in the beauty pageant. Talk us through that. When did that happen?
Yeah. So 2019, when I was back from Russia, like I told you, I made that bucket list, and in that, beauty pageant was one. Why I made that as one of my, thing is that so long I was an NCC cadet, and I was in the armed forces, wearing boots and uniforms. Okay, always tying back my hair. So I wanted a different kind of experience for myself. I wanted to wear heels and wanted to feel elegant. Wanted to not that armed forces women are not; they are also very elegant women. But I wanted to experience that firsthand: the gown, the heels, the crown, the makeup, all of that. Just walk on the ramp than marching on the parade. So that contrast I was seeking from life. And my pageant journey offered me that. And I'm really grateful to that journey. It helped me interact with a lot of women and civilian women, and I came to know, what kind of life they lead, and the challenges that they face, and how they are doing well. Many of them were like self-made women, and that was really inspiring. And this happened in Greece, this entire pageant, where women from 150 countries had participated.
So this was
Indian-
what, like a Mrs. World?
Yeah, Mrs. India worldwide. And women from 150 countries had participated, Indian women though, and it was fantastic experience. It was held in Greece. I went there along with my father. I requested him to come along, and my mother also would have come. So I wanted my parents to see some countries, and my mother couldn't because of her knee issues. But then it was fruitful. I mean, I could tick two boxes. One was my pageant journey, and other was showing my parents a few countries. Of course, mother couldn't, but yeah, father was really happy about it.
Okay, so let's get to the rapid fire. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm excited.
So Sadhana, you're an inspiring figure.
Thank you so much for saying that.
So let's begin with the first question. A quote that inspires you daily.
Be the change you want to see in the world.
Awesome. Book or podcast?
After seeing you podcast.
Thank you. Who has inspired you the most?
My parents, my father.
If your life were a book, what would the title be?
Michelle Obama has written a book called Becoming. I think that becoming is what resonates with me a lot.
A song that pumps you up.
Ruk jana nahi tu kabhi haar ke.
Wonderful, wonderful. What is that one habit that keeps you grounded?
Yeah, my visit to temples, my connection with God, the higher power.
What's your best advice for juggling work and motherhood?
Just take it as it comes.
Name a book that everyone should read once in a lifetime.
I think Alchemist is what I read in the beginning of my life, like when I was, I think class 12 or first year of my graduation. And I think it's a great beginning. That is a great book.
I know you are the brand ambassador for Fit India, but I still have a question. What is your guilty pleasure snack?
Sweets,
Uh-huh.
yeah, sweets, cakes. Whenever there is birthday, like I don't curtail myself. If I'm offered this big, I eat it, and yeah, maybe next 2 weeks I won't eat anything sweet, but then I eat that.
Okay. I know you've spoken about your children. Any fun parenting moment you've had? Or let's say a funniest parenting moment you've had?
My funniest moment was when I was roaming around with them in Europe. Both my kids. My son was 1 year old, one plus, and my daughter was 6, 7, or 8, and yeah. So my daughter was my navigator.
Okay.
She's that
That's
smart. She's such a smart girl.
now that you're into coaching, what would you say is the best thing about your job?
Best thing about my job is to get people into a different state. Okay, into a state where they are, um, they are feeling empowered. Okay,
Okay.
they are able to take charge of their life,
Okay.
and that's the best feeling. Okay, they are able to create their life, get unstuck, and create a life for themselves. Have the best life, whatever they desire.
What would be the one word to describe your coaching style? One word, huh?
My coaching style is, I think emotions is my strength.
I was hoping you would respond with that answer, because I think that's what this podcast for me has been. A journey of multiple emotions. How do you see yourself? And I know you've already said this, but how do you see yourself? I wouldn't say 5 or 10 years, but how do you see yourself personally evolving over time? I mean, where do you see this journey taking you to?
Every year since the beginning of my life, like ever since I know that okay, I have to do this, achieve something in life, say from class 8 onwards, I think it has been an evolution of a sort. And I'm a keen learner, and I'm sure that learning will keep on happening till my last breath. And I think I will keep on evolving as a human being and become better and better and better.
All right. The final question, a message for everyone, especially women out there, young girls out there, and for people in general. Yours has been a very, very interesting life story so far, and I'm sure it's only going to be more interesting. So what's the one message you want to leave? And that includes your family, everyone.
One message that I will give to women, young girls especially, is to just go all out for their goals. Okay, pursue your goals first. Okay, have a purpose in life. Like yesterday, I was mentoring a young girl, 21, 22 years old. She's going for her MBA interview, and she was like, "What if I don't have a purpose?" And I was like, "Okay, forget about purpose. Have a goal." So what is your goal? She was like, get into MBA. And why do you want to get into MBA? And then she had my parents, this and that. So yeah, that is your purpose. That you want to make your parents happy. You want to see them smile. So it's okay. Purpose keeps on changing. You can have short-lived purpose, but have something for yourself. Okay, have something which will give you direction, which will give direction to your life. And yeah, that's very important.
Sadhana, thank you so much. I think that was a wonderful round of rapid fire, and it has been an amazing, amazing experience for me personally. Thank you for taking the time out, and I know that you are traveling again, and so thank you for stopping by, and I hope you will continue to support our show.
Definitely.
This has been a very, very special episode, especially with the focus on women in the armed forces. Our Republic Day is coming up, and this year is very special because I think there is a all-women contingent which is going to be participating in Republic Day. Thank you all for listening in. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Between Us podcast. This podcast was recorded at Manicpod Studios in Chembur, Mumbai. Our sound engineer is Moinak Chakraborty, and our producers are Arnav Dogra and Santosh Kumar. The video was processed at Viewfinder's Edit. The Between Us podcast uploads episodes weekly, and we'll see you next time.